Welcome back to another episode in my FSX Flight Simulator series. Today, being episode 9, we will be flying this Atlas Air 747-400 cargo plane, call sign Giant 1 Heavy, from Logan International Airport in Boston, KBOS. We are here at parking ramp number 2 and we'll be flying to Kennedy International KJFK. We'll be flying at 10,000 feet and at the moment it's about 1500 hours, being 3 p.m. As you can see, we have a few other aircraft lining up for runway 4 left there. We are just waiting for ground services to finish loading up the cargo, and we'll...
Boston, ground, orbit 321 with Golf, ready to taxi. I have orbit 321, taxi to and hold short of runway 4 left via taxiway Alpha, Kilo 3 Echo, Whiskey, contact tower on 128.8 when ready. Taxi to and hold short runway 4 left using taxiway Alpha, Kilo 3 Echo, Whiskey, orbit 321.
Yeah, sorry about that. And yeah, we've been given clearance to taxi to runway 4 left also. Okay, so today's VFR flight will be, as we mentioned earlier, to Kennedy International. I hope you enjoy the flight. Thank you for being with me again for episode 9, and we'll just wait for ground services to finish off their operations and we will get this flight underway.
Boston, ground, world travel 6850 with Golf, ready to taxi. IFR. World travel 6850, taxi to and hold short of runway 4 left via taxiway Alpha, Sierra, Kilo, Bravo, Whiskey, contact tower on 128.8 when ready. Taxi to and hold short runway 4 left via taxiway Alpha, Sierra, Kilo, Bravo, Whiskey. World travel 6850.
So we now have the plane all closed up and ready for taxi. We'll just get ground services clearance to push back and we'll get this flight underway. Okay, let's see if we can get pushback and we'll get this flight underway.
Ground from cockpit. Go ahead. Ready for pushback. Okay, steering pin inserted. Release brakes. Brakes released. Okay, pushing back. All engines clear for startup. Parking brake. Park Parking brakes are set. Prepare for taxi and signal on left side. Okay. Going system removed and hand signal on left side.
We have all our vehicles now out of the way, and we're right to taxi. So let's taxi to runway 4 left and get this plane in the air.
World Travel 1347, hold position, caution at 747 on the taxiway. World Travel 1347, continue taxi. World Travel 1347, hold position, caution at 747 on the taxiway. World Travel 1347, continue taxi. Roger, World Travel 1347. World Travel 1347, hold position, caution at 747 on the taxiway. Hold position, World Travel 1347. World Travel 1347, continue taxi.
So here we are in position, ready to take off. Flaps 1. We'll get some clearance here from our tower.
Boston Tower, Giant 1, heavy, ready for departing straight out at runway 4 left.
Giant 1, heavy, cleared for takeoff, runway 4 left, straight out departure approved.
Clear for takeoff, runway 4 left. Giant 1, heavy.
And we're right to go, so let's get this plane in the air.
Boston departure, Giant 1, heavy, is type 747, 3 miles north of Boston, 900. Request clearance to transition Bravo airspace.
Giant 1, heavy, Boston departure, squawk 0702.
Squawk 0702, Giant 1, heavy.
Giant 1, heavy, radar contact 5 miles north of Boston, 1500, cleared through the Bravo airspace.
Cleared through the Bravo airspace. Giant 1, heavy.
Giant 1, heavy, contact Boston approach, sun 124.4.
Going to 124.4, Giant 1, heavy. Boston approach, Giant 1, heavy, with you. Giant 1, heavy, Boston approach, roger, altimeter 2992. Giant 1 Heavy, traffic is 8 o'clock, 3 miles at 3,400. Airbus A321, 47 site. Giant 1 Heavy, contact Boston, departure on 118.25. 118.25 for Giant 1 Heavy. Turn left heading 240, world travel. Boston departure, Giant 1 Heavy, with you, 3,900.
Giant 1 Heavy, Boston departure, roger. Altimeter 2992.
Okay, so there's our takeoff, and we're just turning on to our heading for our first VOR, which is BOS or BOS, and that at the moment BOS is about 65 nautical miles away. Our ground speed is 260 knots, and we are climbing to an altitude of 10,000 feet. I'll be back with you once we get to our cruising altitude.
Giant 1 Heavy, you're leaving my airspace. Radar service terminated. Squawk 1200, frequency change approved.
Squawk 1200, frequency change approved. Giant 1 Heavy. Boston approach, Giant 1 Heavy is type 747, 7 miles west of Boston. Request flight following.
Giant 1 Heavy, Boston approach. Squawk 0316.
Squawk 0316, Giant 1 Heavy.
Giant 1 Heavy, radar contact 7 miles north of Norwood, 7,800. Altimeter 2992. World travel 6531. Airport is 12 miles at your 10 o'clock. Turn left heading 035. Port runway in sight.
Turn left heading 035. World travel 6531. World travel 6531. I have the runway in sight.
World travel 6531. You are 10 miles southwest. Climb and maintain 2000. Cleared visual. Runway 4. Left approach. Contact Boston Tower on 128.8.
Boston Center, Giant 1 Heavy with you. Giant 1 Heavy, Boston Center, roger. Altimeter 2992. Boston Center, world travel 1347 is at 10,400. Climbing flight level 220. World travel 1347. Boston Center, roger. Altimeter 2992. Giant 1 Heavy, contact Boston, approach on 124.1. 124.1 for Giant 1 Heavy.
Okay, before we contact Boston, here we are at 10,000 feet and currently traveling at a ground speed of 338 knots, and we'll now tune to Bradley approach and let them know that we're here.
Bradley approach, Giant 1 Heavy with you, 10,000. Giant 1 Heavy, Bradley approach, roger. Altimeter 2992. Giant 1 Heavy, contact Providence approach on 135.4. 135.4 for Giant 1 Heavy. Providence approach, Giant 1 Heavy with you, 10,000. Giant 1 Heavy, Providence approach, roger. Altimeter 2992.
Here we are at 10,000 feet, being our cruising altitude, headed for our second VOR being ORW, and we're currently cruising at 344 knots ground speed. I'll just get a little bit more speed here and be back with you as we get close to crossing our third VOR and closer to Kennedy International. Be back with you soon.
Giant 1 Heavy, contact Providence approach on 119.45. Going to 119.45, Giant 1 Heavy. Providence approach, Giant 1 Heavy, with you, 10,000.
Giant 1 Heavy, Providence approach, roger. Altimeter 2992. Giant 1 Heavy, contact Providence approach on 125.75.
125.75 for Giant 1 Heavy. Providence approach, Giant 1 Heavy, with you. Giant 1 Heavy, Providence approach, roger. Altimeter 2992.
So we have just passed our second VOR, which was ORW, and now on our way to our third VOR, which is DPK, and we're about 72 nautical miles away from that VOR.
Giant 1 Heavy, contact Boston Center on 124.85. Going to 124.85, Giant 1 Heavy. Providence approach, Giant 1 Heavy, with you, 10,000. Giant 1 Heavy, Providence approach, roger. Altimeter 2992. Giant 1 Heavy, contact New York approach on 124.075. Going to 124.075, Giant 1 Heavy. New York approach, Giant 1 Heavy, with you.
Giant 1 Heavy, New York approach, roger. Altimeter 2992. Giant 1 Heavy, contact Boston Center on 124.85.
124.85 for Giant 1 Heavy. New York, approach. Giant 1 Heavy, with you, 10,000.
Giant 1 Heavy, New York approach, roger. Altimeter 2992.
So we've set up the aircraft for a ILS landing on runway 4 left, ILS frequency 11090, our course is 45, so we have it all in our GPS, and we are currently at 9,000 feet, and we're about 55 nautical miles from the airport. What we'll do now is turn the plane slightly to the left so we can commence our downwind leg.
Giant 1 Heavy, contact New York approach on 118.0.
Going to 118.0. Giant 1 Heavy. New York, approach. Giant 1 Heavy, with you.
Giant 1 Heavy, New York approach, roger. Altimeter 2992. Global Freightways 8611. Contact New York approach on 120.8.
Going to 120.8. Global Freightways 8611.
We have now descended to 8,500 feet, and we're approximately 15 nautical miles from our last VOR, which is DPK, and are headed for our downwind leg for approach onto runway 4 left.
Giant 1 Heavy, contact New York approach on 123.7.
Going to 123.7. Giant 1 Heavy. New York, approach. Giant 1 Heavy, with you, 8,000. Giant 1 Heavy, New York approach. Roger. Altimeter 2992.
Okay, and as you can see, the airport is just there on the left, and we will start to turn on our downwind leg. Been hitting a bit of turbulence today. We are now just descending to 7,000 feet as we enter the downwind leg on our approach to runway 4 left. And we will also slow the plane down quite a bit. Okay, so we passed our last VOR, JFK, as we approach KJFK or Kennedy International, and at the moment we are about 14.2 nautical miles, and we are getting ready to commence our base. We'll just need to turn to the left a little bit more to line ourselves up for our left turn into our base. Okay, as we have entered our base leg, what I'll do now is get the plane ready for landing, and I will be back with you after we land.
$2,500. $500. Approaching minimums. Minimums. $100. 50. 40. 30. 20.
Okay, so there we have a pretty decent landing here at Kennedy International, KJFK. We'll just retract our flaps now all the way. There we go. And we will turn off our engines. Let's just turn these engines off. And our last one. There we go. So our engines are all off and our plane is parked at its designated parking area. So we have ground services there ready and waiting to unload our cargo, and as you can see, some of it's coming off now, getting ready to be unloaded. I hope you enjoyed the flight to Kennedy International, KJFK, from Logan International in Boston, KBOS. Thank you for joining me again on episode 9, and please remember to subscribe, and of course if you like the video, please give us a click on the like button, and I hope to see you on the next one. Thanks again for joining me, and bye bye for now.